Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan and at Frontline Frags. I have the name
That's
bar on the
me.
screen this time. We're here for
Yep.
the post-season pre-free agency Toronto Defiant conversation roundtable thing. And we probably should have done this a little earlier because we got some signings and some things already gone, but you know what? Who cares? We're here for it.
Yeah, should have done it. Should have done it yesterday, ideally. But I mean, it's kind of fun now that we know who the head coach is. We can kind of speculate, like, oh, who might this guy pick up? Where's the roster going? So probably still in for a good discussion.
Yeah, we're more in date now. We would have been out of date if we did it yesterday, so we're real. Anyway.
That's actually true. Yeah.
So before we get into the fun offseason stuff, let's talk a little bit about our triumphant 0-2 playoff run, where we get rolled by actually the third and fourth finishing teams. That's pretty good if you look at the numbers. You only lost to 3 and 4, so technically we're fifth.
And I mean, the second match, the one that the loser, like the one that knocked us out, that wasn't even that bad of a match. That was a pretty good match.
It was a pretty good match.
So,
Spark
what do
were
you want to
fucking
start?
around, but I don't know. I'll start off with what the hell? They didn't have time, right? So we got Muse on Winston, and then we got Hoppa on Winston, and Hoppa Winston outperformed Muse Winston. How? Why? That's not what he's on the lineup for. And then they couldn't decide who to Reaper because you had Hisu on Reaper, and they also had I forget who it was on the other guy. To be honest, they weren't very impactful. It was Finale on Reaper.
Yeah, Finale on Reaper.
And then
but they swapped.
Yes,
but
they
went
swapped back. And Finale actually played good on the Sojourn, despite probably getting 0 scrim time.
Yeah, he played well, but yeah, definitely looked like they didn't know which people they wanted on what spots, and that's evident. Like, if you think about it, 3 of your 5 dudes were not on the scrim time like characters, essentially.
Oh,
which is just not good. And there were teams obviously that like swapped that stuff around. Like you saw Shock with Collusion Mikey in the finals, right? They just hard committed to the Mikey without like any scrim time on those maps, and it was like working. But it's like when you have like 3 out of 5, you're done. It's like there's no hope.
Like most teams had flip flops because yes, Shock had the flip flop. Spark, as we saw, they went to losers, and then they decided, we'll try Pineapple on Reaper. It didn't work. But I mean,
Soul flip flop technically in scrims.
Yeah,
like they were running Hog, so they had less prep time as well technically, but we didn't see that.
Yeah, just all around the board. It's just unlucky that they didn't have the scrim time, to be honest. But I don't know if it would have changed Toronto's placement very much at all. Like, I don't think we'd beat either of these teams with more scrim time.
No, it didn't look like regardless in terms of like your Kuriko, it didn't look to me like Twilight had a super good understanding. Like he wasn't bad, but he wasn't like popping off at all. I thought when watching him that he kind of like would be on like damaging for too long, right? Before TPing back. Like I remember some distinct plays in my head where like Muse or Hoppa, whoever was in, just like dies because Twilight's just beaming down whoever with shurikens for too long, right?
Yeah.
So tried to pull a Teru, but just like wasn't.
Oh, Teru's
didn't have the awareness, I guess.
No one's like Teru. He's different. He's just
turns out Teru is very good. Maybe we'll see him next. Oh wait, he was dropped. Guy comes up big in the playoffs, and that's just like fuck.
He did so much. He did so much, and now he's just gone. Yep. Oh no! But this isn't the Spark podcast.
No, it's not.
I don't have much more to say about our playoff run. It just happened. Like it was just.
Well, I mean, like, what were we? What were our like hopes for the team going into the playoffs? Because we kind of had like an idea that like this was going to be the meta, right? We're gonna have Monkey, and we both said. I mean, who were the people you said need to step up?
I said it was Finale or Aldo.
And Finale
did
stepped up.
To be fair.
He stepped up actually in the game against Spark. The game against Houston, it wasn't very close at all. Yeah. But the game against Spark, Finale was actually like proving his worth.
Yeah, genuinely. But
yeah, and then I think I mentioned. Who did I mention?
I think you said
Papa
Muse.
Or Muse. I think I said Muse, right? Because like Muse has to come back, play the monkey, prove that he's like that guy. He wasn't that guy. That looks really bad for
It
Muse.
does.
The Muse stock is not looking good. I don't know what team's gonna like want to pick him up when like you're more confident having Hoppa play your Winston
Yeah,
character
that
in
is
the
rough.
playoffs. In your elimination match, you're putting in Hoppa for Winston. It's like,
With presumably no scrim time too. Like
yeah,
maybe
it's
one
just
scrim.
it's not a good look. So really, I think the only way back for Muse is like kind of a nepotism pickup. No, like it's kind of like a, oh, he's worked with whoever before, so they kind of like have, yeah, they
Hmm.
trust him, right? But it's like I feel like if you haven't worked with him, you've kind of lost your trust, maybe.
Is
I don't
that
know.
or like a low tier team? Like maybe like we don't know what New York's doing because they dropped their whole roster. We don't know if they're going Western or something. But like in New York spending nickels, they say, "Hey Muse, do you wanna have a redemption run?" And he goes, "Yeah," and then that's it. So I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
enough about the playoffs. Let's talk about what we're going on in the future, right now, in the future and right now, both. So we know Casores is our new head coach, the former assistant coach of Shock, one of them.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so that indicates at least a mixed roster or Western if your head coach is not Korean, right? 100%.
Yeah, I would wager that for sure. Any team that he's worked on has either been Western or mixed.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know. And I've heard a lot of good things about Casaurus in terms of like reading things on Twitter, Reddit, wherever it may be, hearing other coaches talking about him. He sounds like someone who is really good, and he's trained under Krusty, right? And I
mhm,
mean, we joke about the Krusty crack pipe all the time, but like it, Krusty's system works. It's very good,
yeah.
right? It may have not won the last 2 years, but it won the 2 years before that, right? And he was a part of those lineups, right? He helped build and bring in those pieces, acquire them, build up that talent, right? The head coach of a team often isn't always even the person who is like kind of that
Yeah.
guiding force. Like they are the guiding force because they are like the central guy,
Hmm.
but a lot of the time it's what the assistant coaches are doing on the sidelines, right? Doing their research, looking at strats, kind of micro analysis. So I think we're in a good spot to have Casores as a head coach. I'm really interested to see what he can do with the roster.
Yeah, 100%. And Kaluj, Sam free agent, so maybe he wants to maybe he has some pull there to bring over Kaluj and
Y-
Sam.
Yeah, you maybe stole my next point. I was
My
gonna say,
bad.
yeah, hopefully,
My bad.
like I could very well see, since Shock is like, I mean, I don't even know if you can say it's speculation at this point. It's probably 100% true that they're just going
Yeah.
to pick up the O2 Blast guys and go full Korean, right?
Yeah,
So
pretty
them
much.
dropping Kasaurus makes sense from that perspective. They're not
Hmm.
dropping him because they don't think he's worth anything. It's just like he's not going to fit with that system anymore. And then you could see kind of, oh no, last time this happened actually, where a coach left the team, brought some players over to Defiant. It actually didn't go very well. But this time, maybe there's
It's
hope this
different.
time. And hope maybe he'll bring over Kaluj, Sam, and then potentially, and I don't know if we want to get into this yet, but potentially that opens up like,
Some other
hey,
guys.
American Tornado guys that are on the free market.
Some
Come on
Reiner, some
over. Your
OG.
friends Kaluj and Sam. You remember them? They're cool. They're cool.
They're
You
cool
should come and
guys.
you should come and play with them. And it's like that I think is like dream scenario
Yeah.
maybe, is if we're going Western, because it seems like we're just dropping everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know who's technically still on the roster, but I do not expect that to stay the same, especially since Casaurus is coming in and kind of indicated in his tweet it's like a brand new direction
Yeah.
for hashtag Rise Together, right?
Hmm.
So I'm very excited to potentially see Kaluj and Sam if that's a possibility. It seems like it could be,
It seems realistic.
uh, but we'll have to see. I guess the negotiating and like
Yeah.
contracts and all that, right?
It's not
It
cut and
depends on
dry.
who else is. Yeah, it depends on who else is also bidding, right? Maybe Casaurus doesn't want to just pick up full American Tornado players,
Yeah.
and maybe the AT guys all want to play together this year, right?
Hmm. There's
But
been stuff
one
about
thing's
that.
for sure. One thing's for sure. Toronto's got money. Overactive
100.
Media has money, and they are willing to spend it. Right?
Yeah.
If we are the first people, like this is the first like roster signing of the new year, or not new year, but the off season, right? That bodes well for Toronto in a place of making moves, right? You want your team to kind of make the big move first, and
Hmm.
picking up Casaurus seems like that's the first big move.
It's a big splash. It immediately shows you where the team is looking to go, at least in some regard. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, they have a head start. Some other teams might be still trying to figure out who their head coach is. And until you have that head coach, you can't really form the team because you don't know
Some
what you're
teams
doing.
don't even know what their general manager is.
Real.
So, like I don't know. I think we're in a good position, and Toronto's not usually. I feel like we're not typically in this position where we have the big piece first. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember being like one of the teams that has the first big signing. So this is
Well,
looking
who
good. It's a
knows?
bright future. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
And even it is big, but it's like he is an unproven head coach because he's just been an assistant, right? It's not like we know, like maybe he's not good at being a head coach. We can't.
Yeah, but
Let's
you
not get
see,
ahead of ourselves.
I mean, obviously, your friends are gonna like big you up in the like congratulations comments of your
Yeah.
Twitter post, right? And that's not much to judge by, but based on interviews and kind of like the recognition he's got from this signing, it seems as though people were kind of expecting this move, right? They were expecting him to move to a head coach position
Mm-hmm.
because they saw like, oh, this guy's definitely ready for that,
It's
right?
time.
And I mean, like I said, with the Krusty system, you have your coaches like 9K, right? Who and Junk Buck who have been successful, proven successful outside of the system. Maybe not 9K recently, but there's hope, right? There's hope that Karsi has crafted him into this great coach, and Casores can move forward and maybe be the Western Krusty.
The Western Krusty. That would be crazy.
Perhaps
That
the
would be crazy.
Casores crack pipe is what we might see next year.
That'd be big. That'd be big. So I think the only players officially gone from Toronto right now are Hisu and Twilight. They're the only ones that have made official posts,
Yeah,
like from the team. But like everyone else has gone LFT, which doesn't mean a lot because some people are going LFT while they're still under contract, like on Twitter. But it does. It means something, right? There's something there.
I mean, we also lost Moby Dick. We lost
Yeah.
not Aid. Aid's on fuel. God, who are our assistant
Yang
coaches?
one.
Yang won, and who was the other guy? Didn't he go as well, or did he
Probably.
go during the regular season? Isn't it a former player?
Oh, I don't remember.
Either way, yeah, we've lost
Doesn't
all
matter.
of the coaching staff as well. But yeah, the big ones that you mentioned, Hisu and Twilight, are gone. Which, if you were hoping for kind of like
A retool.
Toronto on arguably their most successful season to rebuild with the good pieces they have, that dream is over. You
Yeah.
have to just abandon that ship. If you're just thinking, yeah, Toronto's gonna now just rebuild around finale hop
Bottom three
Turong. I
team.
mean, Turong's also LFT, which is like, that's terrifying because
Yeah.
we just paid so much money for him. But
For
if
one
we're
year.
going Western, he doesn't fit there probably.
No. Well, you can always go mixed. I think mixed rosters are like good. I don't like
I
missing talent just because they don't speak the same language. Like you can fix that problem in the
I mean,
team environment,
it's been
right?
proven time and time again, unless you have MCD on your team, that you can do mixed rosters with different cultures, right? And
Yeah.
you'll be able to you can make that work, right? People will just like learn the call outs. It's pretty like I don't know. Kefri, like people like Kefri went to Korea and were
Nah, you're
on
not name
contenders
dropping
teams, right?
Kefri. Nah.
No, but you know what I mean. Like
Yes,
you
yes.
can pick up the callouts and stuff. You don't have to be fluent. Obviously, you want your teammates to like be friendly with each other
Yeah.
and like understand each other, but it's not 100% necessary.
No, 100% not. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's obviously merits to having like back to back years now. Full Korean rosters have won. Like that's just kind of that is a
That's
factual
true.
statement. So it's
That's
like,
true.
yeah, straight up, it's what 3 out of 5 years.
Yeah, but you can also think of like the other like top teams that are competing in the grand finals, right? You can think
They're shocking
like
Houston.
Shock, Houston, Glads,
Spark
right?
are mixed also.
Yeah, Spark are mixed, but like you think of like Glads, although they haven't won the last 2 years, the amount of they've won a bunch of stages and they've been
Yep.
towards the top, right? They just fell off at playoffs, and it's just like that's been a mixed roster forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Mixed
definitely
rosters are
doable.
good.
Yeah,
But I hope that we have something, but who knows what's going on there. But I guarantee you that a lot of these players, like Charong, Twilight, Hisu, they have a team if they want, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind that they can all find a pretty like a high level roster. Now for the other guys, I don't know if I have big thoughts on Finale or Aldo being a starter.
I'm confident with Hotba making his way onto another team. That guy is like gotta be the tryout tryout warlord. He must be the best tryouts player ever because he has just found himself on roster after roster. Even though like the year prior, you're like, okay, I think we've seen everything we have from Hotba. I'm not sure we can see more. And then boom, he's on Defiant, or boom, he was on Philly again, or boom, he was on NYXL. Yeah. Boom, he was on Guangzhou Charge. Hey, he was on Philly before that. It's like, what is up?
Going. I mean, he clearly has some sort of like aspect that people like, whether it be the flexibility, him as a person, who knows what it is. And it's not like this is probably a good season for him. I would consider this a good Hotba season, 100%. Right?
I would say that generally his individual performances were pretty impressive in terms of like if you compare them to the rest of his like counterparts, I guess, right? Like third in Midsummer in the Mid-Season Madness or Summer Showdown, sorry. Yeah. Third in that, playing Junker Queen. His Junker Queen looked really good. When he was on Zarya, there were times where he's like taking it. There were glimpses in the series where he's taking it to Hanbin, right? And it's just like
a few fights.
Those were two really exciting fights.
Oh, there were.
As a Toronto fan, but like he did the window thing. He jumped through the window.
They still lost that fight. No.
They still lost that map. But you know, Hoppa might weasel his way onto another team. Muse, we said we're not too sure if he has a place on another team, which is unfortunate because he looked great in 2021. Yeah. Finale, although might be. I think they go back to contenders. I think they definitely find their way onto a contenders team for sure.
No doubt there, but
for sure. But yeah, it might be like for the budget teams might pick up those guys.
Yeah, I mean, he had to outperform like both of them had to outperform someone in tryouts to make it onto Toronto. I don't know who they were bringing back. Nice, I don't know, whatever that stuff was going on. Clearly, Yaki was the first choice way back when, right? So they were never first choice. And if you're not first choice already for a mid team, that doesn't sound good for your career, to be honest.
Yeah. Now,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you think? Is there any chance that getting Casores as a head coach is actually? Do you think he would Casores? They would hire him on to build like a Florida Mayhem team, like in terms of like.
Oh, you think we're going budget maybe?
Well, I don't think that's the way we're going because historically we've just seen this team just increase spending, right? But is there any like chance you think that Casores would be picked up to build like a kind of like a not a budget team, but like, you know, kind of diamond in the rough searching team? Or do you think he's the guy who's going to be like, yo, I know who my shooters are, I have the budget, we're going for those guys?
I think that like he's been on Shock since 2020. He has never needed to find a diamond in the rough. That's not been his job, right? They've been Shocked. They've kind of had their guys. And it's not like they've ever picked up anyone that's low profile on Shock, like ever. Maybe he was like the reason that they get Kaluge as their replacement whenever Super dropped out, right? Or something like that. And maybe he was like, oh, we should get this guy instead of getting someone from Korea or something like that. So maybe, but I think that would be kind of like, I don't think that makes a lot of sense for how Toronto's been historically. And also it doesn't make sense to drop spending now. Like this is like the peak of OWL almost. With how many people
we just saw record viewership. Yeah, we just saw record viewership in the finals. And you're probably going to see, assuming the offseason is like short, right? And Overwatch 2 is still like vibrant by the time the next season comes up, I think you will see an increase in viewership.
Yeah.
So this is when you're telling your investors, that's when you're telling your Bells, your TDs, you know, that's when you're telling those guys, you're like, okay, listen, return on investment, not been great this season. Look at the numbers, but hear me out, the numbers. And Toronto might be able to play that numbers game still with their investors, right? And be like, oh, Summer Showdown was a massive success, right? And look at the finals. It's fantastic. So
get us to the finals. Money for the finals equals money for you. Where's the loss? Where's the loss?
Real.
I'm ready for it. I'm definitely. I don't know. No matter where Casores takes the team, it's always exciting being a Defiant fan of the offseason because you have no clue. You're rebuild number 4, may as well. I was expecting a retool. Yeah, we're pretty numb. It's like, oh, we've seen this one before. It's nothing new.
Like, I don't know if there's a single other team that has rebuilt as much as Toronto.
Probably not.
Is there? Because I don't think there is.
I do a little thinking.
You could argue maybe London.
Well, they had the same roster for 2 years. Toronto cannot say that. Season 1, Season 2 are the same. They've kept this roster 2 years too, basically. Well, not really with British Hurricane. It was the same concept. You kept Hottie and Sparker. That's 2. It's 2.
I guess.
Not really though. I don't know. Probably the most rebuilding team. But yeah. I was expecting a retool around Hisu and the backline. That's what I was expecting.
Yep.
But I don't know. We don't know if Hisu, like, if his contract expired and he doesn't want to come back. We don't know if we dropped him. Halo said that Defiant dropped him and like he was still in contract. I don't know if I believe that. I feel like Halo's just lying because he's Halo.
I'm not confident in Halo's reporting these days.
No, I'm not either. He's not that guy. So we don't know what's going on because if I'm Hisu and I say I do not want to play for the Toronto Defiant, I do not blame him. 0%. He's gone through enough.
I mean, he gave it 2 years, right? He gave it 2 like full those are 2 teams that were built around Hisu. Hisu was like the last man standing, and they built around him. So it's like,
and they failed both times.
So it's like, okay, Hisu's probably like, okay, maybe Hisu wants to go back to Korea. I could see him in the APAC.
I could as well. He loves Sombra. APAC loves Sombra. Perfect fit. Hisu to play Sombra is all he wants in life.
Yep. Hisu to Guangzhou Charge.
Yeah, I don't know. So all my theories of, Decay to Defiant beside Hisu, all that stuff, still possible, less likely now. And I'm still gonna manifest it. I still want to see Decay on Defiant just because I think it'd be funny. But
no, personally, to end this, I'd just like to say I am manifesting the Toronto Tornado. Okay, I would love with all my heart to see my favorite contenders team from like 2 years ago, right? Come together under the Toronto banner and bring this team to like new heights and just better marketing. Just a fun team again. We haven't had a fun team. We haven't had Smilers in 2 seasons. It was right or 3.
Even
how many seasons since then?
Even then, you can argue there's been no smiling on Defiant their entire existence. Surefer wasn't smiling when he was here. Logix wasn't smiling.
That's true.
Kariv was smiling. Kariv and Agilities were smiling. There's only 2 smilings in our entire... Mangachu, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it. No smiling. But yeah. Who knows? We'll see. And whenever there's the new roster, we will be here again. Do not fret. We'll be here to be like, woo, Decay! Or AT, or whatever. But yeah. Not a lot to go.
Let's go, Mikey on Defiant! No.
Yeah. Woo!
Okay. Also... Yeah. I didn't purposely ignore the fact that Mikey was on Shock and that Casores could bring Mikey over, but God, I hope that doesn't happen. I just didn't want to mention it at that time because I don't want it to happen. I do not like Mikey. Mikey hater.
Mikey hater. Real. Okay, that's it, though. We're done now.
That is it.
Goodbye. Come back next time.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, share, everything.